Okay, in this video, we're going to take a look at manual sorts again, but we're going to focus on tops and bottoms. We're going to try to figure out, what does that mean to you as a trader, and how do you ring the register with this information, and how do you use it to try to identify some opportunities. So if we look at weekly, we're just going to pick top. We could pick bottom. What does that really do? That actually tells you that the price of the current instrument is in the vicinity of the top or the bottom of a profile. I'm going to pick top again here just for example's sake. And I'm also going to notice that you know the defined situation of top and bottom is a 10% variance within the span of the profile itself. So if we're within a 10% neighborhood of the top or the bottom of a profile, it's going to say top or bottom, whether it's above or below. So we consider this the noise area of this profile, of the outer limits of the fair auction, the balanced area, the box, or however else I'm saying it lately. So all these things mean profile. So if I go into top here and I'll just look at applied materials, and I'm going to go ahead and pull up my landscape chart, and as that pulls up, I'm going to show you that the level of the marketplace is actually within the top of this profile. And if you look at this, we're also in the neighborhood of the top of our daily profile. So we're kind of in that DMZ, if you will, between the top, and we're showing green there, top one. That means we're kind of still in that noisy area, but we're also still in the noisy area of our weekly unfair high. So this is what I would consider to be decent resistance. And what does that mean? That means that we've been kind of trailing down here on our weekly, and we're coming up into, because that arrow down means by default, this is kind of like by definition, we've been in a downtrend by our profile definitions, and we're kind of coming up into this area. All right, so again, what does that mean to you as a trader? That means that you've got two time frames that are lining up two tops of our two balanced areas on our weekly and daily. Now, if I look at air gas, ARG, I'm going to pull that up too. I'm going to see a very similar situation. We've been in an uptrend. We're coming up into the top of our profile. We're at the top of our profile on a daily. That means that we've got decent resistance area also here. So I'm going to pull up my chart, and I'm going to go to my weekly immediately. And this is not a great example because it's obviously something that's been in some kind of um, takeover or something of that nature. So I tell you what we're going to do. We're going to pass on that one because anything goes in the Wild Wild West of that type of scenario. So we're going to take a look at First Solar. So looking at First Solar in the neighborhood up there, we're going to take a look at a move that we've had up into the neighborhood of the top of our profile on our daily, but not yet there. So that's why it's not saying in First Solar, it's not saying top there. But if we got our weekly, we're by definition in the very definition in the vicinity of the top of that profile. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go back to First Solar. We're going to look at our landscape view. We're going to see we're just getting into that neighborhood. So again, this is defining resistance. Is it a trading opportunity on the short side? The market's had a pretty good run here lately in the past 3 or 4 days. This is January 26th, and this is after the close. So if I look at this, and I want to say, what's been going on here? This is our daily. We've got to move up. We're almost at the top of our profile on daily and the weekly. This is a decent profit taking area, in my opinion. You've got to at least take a rest here, take some off the table if you've been long. Another example we're going to take a look at, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to go, top. All right. Okay. So here's where we're at. Decent resistance on some stocks that have actually traveled north lately. If I go bottom, this is what we got on the candidate list. And I'm focused on weekly and daily. I'm not getting into the 240s and 60s right now. But on our long-term and intermediate-term view, taking a look at Time Warner Cable, I'm going to just put this on the radar screen. Bottom. I don't know what this stock's been doing. We're sitting right at the precipice of the cliff here. If we head below there, and especially below this 178.76 area, this is where you can orient stops. That's the cool thing about lining up multiple time frames and multiple inflection points. So as we look at this, again, here's where you can orient some stops. If we go below there, you probably should be out of the market on the long side. Here's our weekly situation, very similar stance. So again, can you look at this as a stock that's kind of been outperforming the market? Yes, absolutely you can. Can you orient stops around this 179 coupled with our 178 area? Yes, you can. That's identified easily by looking at the bottom of our profiles on the weekly and the daily. All bets are off on the long side below this DMZ, if you will, and a possible short situation. Keep your eye on it. The real easy way to keep your eye on this is to go back into a list situation. Let's just say we're going to call this John List, and we're going to put in TWC. All right. So if I want to make a one symbol portfolio, I just X that out by mistake. If I want to make a one symbol portfolio, I'm going to put that in my list. I'm going to hit save. And I'm going to go back to my navigation, and I'm going to add that custom list. There's my John List. Put it in my navigation, and as they say in North Carolina, Viola. I'm going to hit John List, and there's Time Warner. So I can keep that on my radar screen, pay attention to what it's doing. Not looking good the past short-term situations, showing those trading below profiles on our 240 and 60. But I can keep an eye on this. If it's something that's going to breach these areas, it's going to start showing red on either one of them. And I know that, this is something I probably need to pass on as far as keeping it in my long portfolio.